Thank you to everybody who has entered the sweepstake to win a week on this boat sailing with us. We're trying to raise money, 6,000 New Zealand dollars, to get Finn, our eldest son, to the under 23 World Rowing Championships in Canada this year. We're already halfway there. The sweepstake's open for another couple of weeks. I'll put the link in the comments and the description. Thank you for taking part. Addu Atoll, the southernmost point in the Maldives, has been our home for the past week as we await a weather window before we can begin our next offshore adventure, sailing to the Seychelles.
So it's around about 2:30 in the morning here at the anchorage in Adu Atoll. We've sort of been waiting here a few days to check out and head to the Seychelles, but it's really blown up here this evening. Since about 10 o'clock this evening. It's been sitting on 25 to 30 knots. But that's not the problem, it's the angle. And the angle has swung all our boats, 3 boats here in the anchorage, us, Hazo and Searcher, onto the lee shore. See the lights behind us here? Those are all, well, there's reef closer to us than the lights. And in fact, just off our stern, port stern, about 5 metres away, there's a big bommy that when you drop the anchor, we're limited anchorage, we'll drop it in, but I did figure that if we did swing around we'd be okay, and we will be, as long as we don't drag. And I've just been watching it for the last hour or two. Can't sleep through. Anyway, it's a, yeah, she's quite blustery, quite blowy now. We've come through a little bit of rain. Didn't see this on the forecast. So, the wind last night didn't cause any damage, thankfully, and we didn't get too close to the bommy. But the bad news is the kayak that was tied to the stern broke off. And you know what? I knew that was so stupid. At about 4 this morning I was going, oh, I should pull that up. She'll be right. Next minute. Anyway, I'm going to just jump in the tender and head off down the way. My pick is it's going to be caught up on one of these rock walls that they're quite prolific along here where the harbours are made. Yeah, baby, yeah!
The kayak returns. What did you do? How did you know where to look?
Oh, the angle of the wind, you know, it was bound to get off, hit something there.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have gone out the channel, out the further ascend there, but the chances of it doing that when there's little wharfs and jetties and things sticking out too, you know. I went into the first harbour and asked the petrol attendant there just to look out for it, and then I just went further down. It was quite far down and it's just sitting up on a rock wall.
Wow, it had got blown there, or do you think someone had pulled it out of the water?
Oh no, it's washed up, blown up on the rocks, yeah.
That is so lucky.
Yeah.
As you may have seen in last week's episode, Ivan and occasionally Declan use the kayaks to get from the boat to the shore to play soccer in the evening when the weather is coolest. This is the first anchorage in the Maldives where we have spent more than 2 consecutive nights, allowing us to get a better feel of the people and their way of life. This heart-shaped atoll is home to 28,000 people, spread over 6 islands. A strategic secret airbase for the British in World War II, Addu feels somewhat different to the rest of the country. As one of only 2 atolls sitting below the equator, Addu declared independence from the rest of the Maldives from 1959 to 1963. A gesture shared by first our kayak and then, horror of horrors, while the whole anchorage were ashore sightseeing, our boat Javelo, replete with mocha, dragged anchor.
So by the looks of it, our boat is not where it should be, and the boys are off on the motorbike somewhere. So somewhere between the boys getting off the boat, which
There hasn't been any wind.
Well, there must have been a squall come through.
Or a current.
The boat is dragged.
It's got the cat doesn't know how to put the anchor down.
It's been sitting there for 2 or 3 days. We had some good breeze, so I don't know what the heck's happened. Anyway, we'll soon find out. So our tent is just here, so we'll just shoot on out and see what's happening.
Oh, Marks, what have you been up to? Are you trying to make an escape? Were you mutinying? Oh, poor Max. You were off on your own, weren't you? Off on a little adventure. And if we hadn't have come back at that moment, because we've just been driving round the island, we just happened to be going back down this side, and Rob goes, the boat's dragged. Hey, and just one person on board.
And the boys have only just got off it not long ago.
And when we came back, she was at the wheel. She was going, I have no idea what I'm doing.
We've been contemplating what happened today. You know, I've been struggling to come to terms with what really happened, and I can only speculate because we don't really know. But it seems pretty clear actually that we dragged, well, obviously we dragged, the anchor dragged. Why it dragged is, what you could argue, is it because of a tidal range thing that we got it wrong? Did we not put out enough scope for that? Tidal range variation, did we put it out 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times? The minimum scope you should put out is 3 times the depth. So if you're in 5 meters of water, you should put out at least 15 meters of chain. That's the absolute minimum. I don't think that was the actual issue. I don't think the scope was the issue. I don't think the tidal range misinterpreted was the issue. The anchorage itself is the problem. There's only this one tiny little area where probably 3, 4, at maximum 5 boats can actually get in there. And there were 3 in there at the time when this happened today. We are anchored in the northern part of this little pitch of sand. And you can see the bommy that I referred to from a couple of nights ago, where the wind had swung literally 90 degrees to be out of the north. It's been generally from out of the west. It swung 90 degrees out of the north and went from sort of 10 to 15 knots to 25 to 30 knots. So that would have made the anchor reset. Now you can imagine when the anchor resets, it gets pulled out of the sand and then it moves a little bit, you know, a metre maybe or 2, and then eventually resets itself. The rock is a cracker for that. It's one of its strengths. Now when the wind swung back again to the standard, the prevailing weather, the anchor at some point would have pulled out and go to reset itself again. And in doing so, it may have lost another metre or 2 before it actually got itself back in the sand. Now with this tiny little area of sand that we had to anchor, there's a drop off. And it seems to me that when it reset, not once but twice, we were probably getting closer and closer to that drop off. In particular the second reset. And look, I think it's as simple as that, and I didn't think to check when the weather came good again to check how far the anchor had moved, or if it had moved at all. So it was my bad. I mean, it was really my bad not to check that. In the 10 years we've been sailing, we have had 3 anchor dragging situations. The second one was, we were on the boat, it just wouldn't set. It set for a while and then dragged, and we reset it 3 times. But the first time was our first major expedition out into the South Pacific, and to Fiji, Mana Island, all the family on board. In fact, we all got off board, 25 to 30 knots on an anchorage, nobody on the boat. Tender was on the boat, we were snorkeling. And it was a similar situation to this one today, where we were close to a drop-off, and that's exactly what happened. The anchor set, but not properly, and little did we know, as we sat on the boat for an hour, it was slowly dragging, very incrementally, like inch by inch. It just was dragging closer to the drop-off. And by the time we got off the boat and into the snorkeling area, it's dropped off. And 10 minutes into our snorkel, Rachel says to me, "Hey, what's the boat sideways onto the seas?" And I look around, holy guacamole, that's dragging. That is gone, man. And luckily, Rachel and Finn had been doing a lot of swimming training, and they were super fit. And Rachel says, "Right, I'm off to catch the boat." Our boat was gone for all money. 25 to 30 knots. Further out to sea, getting rougher and rougher with that, as you can imagine. And off Rachel goes, and Finn says, "I'm coming too," because he's quite fit, and off they go. It was unbelievable. It was such a dramatic moment seeing these two swim off over the, very quickly disappear into this increasing chop, and they swam for 1 kilometre into the ocean, into 80 meters deep water, into Fiji, tropical munchies and nasties out there, and they rescued the boat and brought it back. I mean, it was extraordinary. I don't know how many people have ever had to swim a kilometre to get a boat and rescue it and bring it back. It was extraordinary, something I'll never forget. So we are in a tricky position. We're trying to work out when to head off to the Seychelles. 3 of the 4 models are predicting that we are going to get really bad weather if we leave in the next day or 2 headed for the Seychelles. Some of the other sailors are saying, let's just get going and it'll be dissipated by the time we get there. I'm not so sure. We've got to head due south, pretty much due south as we leave the Maldives. We've got to get down south past the ATCZ zone and some currents that will be pushing us the wrong way as well. Once we get into the southeasterlies, we'll be able to head more to our course. I don't know. I mean, it's looking really tricky to me. Very, very tricky. I do not want to be hitting a depression / developing potential cyclone even.
The ITZZ is the intertropical convergence zone. On the equator, the winds of the north and the southern hemisphere converge. The sun is most directly overhead here, and this warms the sea, which in turn causes warm, humid air to rise. As the warm air rises, it spreads outwards and cools. The water vapour condenses into clouds and returns to the ocean as rain. And when the conditions are right, tropical storms form. The zone's position fluctuates. It's here one day and gone the next. We need to cross this zone of squally weather to get to the consistent southeast trade winds that will blow us all the way to the Seychelles. Oh, let there be light. Oh my goodness, they just kind of piled them in on top of each other. They're not even in little bags or anything. 150 samosas to see us across the ocean to the Seychelles. Of course, we must sample before we go to make sure we are not poisoning ourselves. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. I'm eating one right now, so
They're still warm.
Yummy!
Where have you been?
Get the passports.
Ah.
Yes.
So we are officially
We're exiting.
checked out.
Checked out. And we are, they said if we don't leave tomorrow morning, he will get in trouble.
Really?
He said customs will kill him if we don't leave first thing in the morning. But
Did
if
he
we
actually use those words?
Yeah, he said customs will kill me.
I thought they said that we could have a little bit of
Yeah.
kind of grace time.
Well, the grace is tomorrow for overnight, I guess. Yeah. So we need to do our last shop up, Rach. Let's get going.
It's our last day in the Maldives. We've just been shopping up a storm. So we hired a motorbike. We whizzed up the longest road in the Maldives, past the rubbish dump, past the very nice looking police academy, past the Institute of Cake Making.
Cake makers and toppings or something.
Cake decoration and arts, I think it was actually called.
It's cool.
I just thought that was quite lovely. We again went crazy on watermelons because the watermelons are so good here.
They're so good.
They're so tasty. We will run out of fruit. I just know we will because we don't pace
We tend to
ourselves.
start the day with watermelon, just feast on watermelon until lunchtime.
But we don't pace ourselves, so we start off with what we think is a huge amount of fruit and end up with one lemon. I don't know how many watermelons we bought, about 20 I think.
Yeah.
We'll see how long that lasts. Probably just to the pass of the Adu, I would say. But we've been sitting here. How many days have we been sitting here?
Oh, too long. Oh.
Yeah, we rushed. We rushed to get down here, and then I've sat here for a week.
Morning, guys.
Good morning. You're going early.
We're an early morning family.
We usually go quite early, but I don't know. We're taking our time today.
I saw this bit of westerly wind and I thought, well, I'll make do with a bit of southerly sail.
Yeah, very good.
Anyway, let's stay in touch. I sent you an email
Yes.
this morning, and so let's keep messaging. And channel 69 if you want to chat.
Okay, but you're going to the Seychelles, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see you there.
Well, we'll see you on the way.
Okay. Well, maybe not. think you're going to be a bit faster. And so the exodus begins. We're going to be leaving in the next couple of hours. I've just got to go in and, well, not I. I've dedicated. I've appointed myself to this job. I don't have to go in, but bottom of the dinghy's beginning to get a bit green. So before we haul it out, we're going to give that a clean. Okay, we've cleaned the bottom of the thing. Once you get a little bit of growth on there, it doesn't come off so nicely. But now we've had to drag Declan out of bed. Poor old Dex. What time were you playing soccer till last night?
11:30.
How was the soccer?
It was good.
How good?
I scored.
Hey!
Yeah. My first goal on the very last touch.
Last touch of the match.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's nice. Did they carry you around on their shoulder?
They did celebrate.
Did they? That was so...
Declan magic.
Yeah.
Strokes again. Okay, let's get this engine up.
Okay, let's see how easily this comes up this time. Can we bash it on the side of the
It's a bit
boat?
roly-poly, but yeah.
You want me to...
Yeah, can you do the winch?
Since our dinghy and outboard upgrades and the subsequent weight increase, we tried to minimise the stress on the davits by stowing Ollie before embarking on an offshore passage.
Show us your muscles. Like it's not that heavy, come on. No engine, no fuel. Yeah,
No problem.
no problem.
It's sad, isn't it?
Yeah. Always said.
Especially when we're leaving one boat behind.
Yeah, yeah.
Leave no one behind was our motto.
When we went to sea, everyone gets to the other side.
I will say this for the Maldives. I think none of us knew what to expect. You hear lots of different pros and cons about the place, but the people, and it's always the people, isn't it? It's the people who make it so lovely. Like the guy who helped us in the store yesterday. We then went out looking for cat food. We got cat food, and on our way back, he came past us with his wife again on his motorbike, and he like tapped you on the shoulder or like said hello and oh, you got home safely, and just so nice. The boys playing soccer, you know, somebody giving them food to take on our journey. Just lovely things. And I felt I did them a disservice because I had a little grumble the other day and I was saying there's something about the place I just don't understand it. And some of the other islands, because we're only there for one day, they didn't know us, and I would ask a question and they would talk to Robert, or they would just completely ignore me. We went to buy something in a restaurant, Ivan and I, the other day. I handed them the credit card. They put the credit card through the system and handed the device to Ivan to put in the number. I handed them the credit card. They gave it to the 17-year-old boy to put in the number. I'm like, hello, it's my credit card. So, but anyway.
Did you feel like a man then, Ivan?
He grew several feet, and I will protect you, mother. So, I don't take anything by it. It actually made me laugh, so.
Yeah. Personally, I've found the locals curious. Like a curiosity, and often they don't know how to bridge the threshold between us, because people will just stare at you. Like, they'll just stand there and stare at you, and it's just like,
because
they're trying to figure out, I don't know what they're trying to figure out.
Because most tourists stay in the resorts.
Well, I guess so. They don't
see them.
Yeah, that's true. But and so it's not a rude thing at all. And because if you take the step of breaking that ice, it's just a hello, instantly hello. Yeah,
they're
it's
really
very
friendly.
There's just no angst at all. It's yeah, really nice. Oh, Willie's putting his main up. Let's get our main up, guys. Look, Willie's putting the main up. Main up, people.
Who put that winch handle in there?
Me.
That is terrible.
That's awful.
That's just asking to fall in the water.
Yeah, it is. That was me. My bad.
You know, actually I was reflecting, Rachel.
Oh, Robert, this is going to be good.
Well, you remember, you and Declan in particular were raving about our last passage from Thailand to Sri Lanka as being the best passage ever.
Oh, it was.
No, it wasn't. And at the time I was thinking, yeah, it was a great passage, but you guys got short memories. Do you not remember? We had not one, but two seriously close calls with lightning. Really close, like scarily close.
Yeah, but we weren't hit, which made it a great passage.
Yeah, it was an exciting passage in that sense. But the other thing was, we had that terrible night, sleeting rain, when the spinnaker got caught around the forestay. And that was...
But we got it down, which makes it a great passage.
Which was exciting. Because I still feel our passage from Newmere to Australia was our best passage.
Yeah, okay, that's up there.
When you get to customs?
When we get to customs, we're all going to go
like this.
So it's windy.
Yeah, you say it's really windy.
Been a windy passage?
You've obviously been on opposite sides of the boat.
And it's been burdened. It's burdened me. It's been on my...
But
I haven't been able to sleep.
Let me tell you.
Talk about this.
Tell me, how many turtles did we save on the passage
Oh, well, that's
from Newmere
right.
to Australia?
But how many races did we win?
How many dolphins did we see? How many times did we stop and
Yeah.
swim? None.
Yeah.
So
No, that's true. Lots of upsides.
it's lots of things that make a good
So
passage.
but then the reason I bring this up is I hope we get to say the same thing or similar at the end of this passage.
No way, Jose.
It's going to be interesting.
I don't think this is going to be a nice passage at all. All the reports say this is going to be a horrible passage. It's the kind of passage I would try to avoid, but it's the devil you do know or don't, because in a week's time it could be even worse. So there's a big storm brewing, there's going to be big seas, we're going to be bouncing off those big seas, and that's what I don't like the idea of.
Yeah.